Hey guys, for this video I want to do the classic review where I explain the story, gameplay, graphics and music stuff, because EVE Online is a game that has run since 2003, starting its third decade, and even just considering the 8 years I played the game, there has been a lot of changes, so I don't think it is worth going over all those details. On the other hand, I want to share in an honest way what was my experience in the game, more or less how things flow on it, why it is considered as one of the hardest games to get into, and ultimately rate it. Let's start with the negatives. This journey began with an idea of mine: not pay further than 3 months of subscription. Back in the day I paid around 500 pesos, which can be translated to 30 US dollars right now. At the time the game wasn't free to play, so I started studying what were the mechanics prior to getting into this mess. And that is the first reason why this game is really hard to get into. The amount of information you need to get to play in a decent way is a lot, and I am not gonna lie, I used to read a lot and watch many videos explaining PvE, PvP, industrial and exploration activities. So yeah, in short, it is time consuming. Every activity in this game requires a good amount of time to learn and master, because you currently have 3 ways to grow into the game. The first one is by training skills, which take real time to level up. When I started, this was the only way to get them. Now you can also invest money or in-game currency to get those skill points. In this case, just because you have skills, it doesn't mean you're good, it just means you can do something. So don't expect to jump into EVE and be flying a fully equipped battleship to run any kind of activity. Talking about activities, that is another thing why this game can be overwhelming. There are tons of things to do. Each and every single thing you wanna do requires once again a certain degree in knowledge, in-game skills plus some practice. What is interesting about EVE is that it is run by the players. Every single ship, module or stuff like that was created or gotten by another player, or a bot. There is people that just live mining, some others in the marketplace buying cheap and selling expensive, some others that live in constant wars, transporters, industrial, PvE, gankers, scammers, or people who infiltrate into corporations for years to steal some of the most expensive ships, worth up to 1000 US dollars. EVE Online is a sandbox. There are no rules. So we could sit here and talk hours upon hours about every single activity and how it becomes much more complex as we dive deep into the game. And this is where a lot of people end up running away. Putting myself as example, I wanted to do PvE activities. For me it took around 2 months to be fully prepared to do level 4 missions, with a battleship to start farming high SK to pay my 4th month. And that is where we get into the next issue for a lot of people: getting ganked or messed up in an activity and lose your ship. There is an old saying in EVE that goes, don't fly what you cannot afford to lose. Because I could say that I needed around 2 months to fully equip and train for that battleship. And losing your ship means that you have to start a whole process once again. And time ago, in the worst case scenario, if you lose that pod, you could also lose your skill points. So it is easy to see why people rage quit from this game quite often. And to be honest, just imagine that you got your well-earned money just to get moved around the corner. Sure, I wouldn't be happy about it, but that is the kind of experience this game provides, as everything requires time. Another negative point is that it is not as intuitive as many would like it to be, and there are a lot of icons on screen. The first time I played EVE, I had no idea what I was doing, even after watching and reading a lot. So I got lost, jumped into gate camps because I thought I was unstoppable in my cruiser, got ganked while mining, lost drones because I forgot to call them back, lost PvP fights because of lack of emotion control. I mean, this may sound dumb, but there is a kind of adrenaline that this game provides that, in my humble opinion, goes even further than when I played first-person shooters. That can be the summary of some negative points. Or at least these things can be perceived as the negative ones, at least for those who want to jump into the game and start doing the really crazy stuff. And even if you can fly the biggest of ships, aka Titan, that means nothing if you are not in a well-organized group. Now let's go to the positive ones. Once you have gone through all those ups and downs, feels quite well being able to run the missions that once you saw as hard or impossible. venture into dangerous activities because you know they reward with a lot of shiny things, create dumb plans to catch shitty people to make them lose their ships in their own game, create strategies to play under the nose of those who think they can control the space, and get to know people from all around the world. At the end of the day, it's pretty much become a little bit of a masochist and enjoy the day-by-day activities, because once you get to a certain point into the game, you can pay your subscription in a couple of hours or days, spending perhaps 2-3 hours of gameplay. Now the perception here may be like, well, you have several years of experience, and sure, we all have to start from somewhere. The marketplace is user-driven, and like in real life, it's a balance of offer versus demand. The reason to say this is because back when I started, I had no idea that I would be one of those players leading and manipulating the marketplace. As EvenLine has been changing, every time there is something new, people jump into those activities, unless it is something really risky. And back in the day near my home system, I was the only one running these sites on a daily basis, so I was able to make stupid amounts of in-game currency, while it is true that sometimes things didn't go my way. In general, I had recovered my initial investment, being able to replace my stuff and get a huge profit. To properly play this game, you need to have a kind of plan in the long run, and adapt as everything is changing constantly, update after update. Because an activity that today gives you a decent profit, maybe tomorrow is not that good, and that is what kept me engaged in this game. Because my first year, it was all about mastering PvE activities, starting with missions, which are kinda easy to play, then venture into low security space, then into null security where anything can happen, get back into high space, start making a lot of money from exploration in low security space, get control of a really profitable moon without losing my station after many risky war declarations. That is the kind of experience you can get in EVE. But you need to create a plan as you venture further. Now think why most of the people who play this game are adults. Ultimately, I will say it is a solid 8, if I consider the usual topics I always like to share. That is my humble opinion about this game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.